All right, Shalom. Let me get straight into this lesson. But the spirit don't let me to go into these so-called, the tribes of Israel that's doing all this idolatry in Brazil. Got all these other so-called South American countries and Central and South American countries that do the same idolatry. And these are Israelites. And some of these people, let me show you, some of these people are Edomites too. Remember, Edomites is spread into all nations like the Israelites. So not every so-called Mexican person, which is the tribe of Issachar, and not every so-called Colombian, which is the tribe of Asher, is not an Israelite. You have a lot of them that are Israelites, and you have, remember, Portugal and Spain and these other so-called European countries colonized these areas, these Israelites, and made them convert to be Catholic Christians and all that madness. So you have to understand that. So not every so-called Hispanic, so-called Mexican is an Israelite. It's the ones that go back into the lineage of Israel. So let's get into this video. So in Brazil, they unveiled this lady of Fatima, if I'm saying that correctly, Fatima, which is a place in Portugal. So check this out. And that's why the Northern Kingdom go pay too, man. You see that? Do you see that? And the tribes there, the Israelites that's there is carried away with these dumb idols because they stupid. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got a lot of sense. And they brainwashed and been heavily indoctrinated by the Edomites that colonized Brazil. They colonized Dominican. They colonized so-called Puerto Rico, so on and so forth. And when they colonized, they brought in their Christianity and their religion with them, And that's why most of the tribes, the Israelites that scattered in these places, or Christians, or Catholic. Catholic is one and the same as a Christian. Catholic is just Catholic is the mother of all the other Christianity denominations, but they had a split with the Protestants, and a lot of Jakes was involved in that. That's what you don't know. So this some more madness. Let me just get to a few scripts, then I'm gonna get into show you some history of what this stuff means, and where it comes from. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna get straight into it. I believe this Exodus chapter 20, if I'm not mistaken. But it says, "Thou should not make unto thee any graven image," is the second of the 10 commandments forbidding the creation of idols, of any likeness of things in creation to worship them. So you not to make any objects, any idols that you worship. And this is what the Israelites that's in Brazil and all these other places are doing. Even when you go to so-called white Jesus, you got the other tribes that has been influenced with this guy here. This guy right here is in most of the people's minds across the whole world, especially the Israelites. This is their God. But a lot of them pray to these other idols, like this one. And I'm going to give you the history on this dumb idol that they created. And this comes from the Edomites in Portugal, because Portugal, Spain, all these Edomite so-called European countries colonized, and they brought that Christianity with them in so-called European countries, because Europe is a new concept. They renamed the continent Asia, and they drew a different, they colored a different part of the map and put a fake boundary there and said this is Europe, but that's really Asia. So right here, it says Lady Fatima, taller than the Christ the Redeemer. So that's another idol that they got in Brazil. Let's go here. Let's get some history on this. Let's go here. It says Fatima, Portugal. It says Fatima is a city in Portugal known as a major Catholic pyramid site. You hear that? It says famous for the 1917 apparition of the Virgin Mary. See, that's that. Boy, this is crazy, man. The tribes, the Most High gonna destroy them, man. So the Christ the Redeemer, right? I'm gonna get into this right here too. How they renamed them Brazilian, because when you go into the name Brazil, it actually goes back into a tree. So it's not even an ethnicity of people, but they so dumb and stupid that they call themselves Brazilians, like people call themselves all these other false ethnicities, like Puerto Rican. When you go into the word Porto, means port, like you shipping port, and Rico is rich, so they call themselves a rich port, but they so stupid they don't even know they like sheeple. Right here, this that Christ the Redeemer, another idol that they erected in Portugal. So let's go back into this thing here. Let's go back into this idol. Give me 1 second. Let me find where I need to pick up at. 1 second. Right here. So Lady of Fatima is a title for the Virgin Mary based on apparitions to the three shepherd children in Fatima, Portugal in 1917. The core message was a call to pray the rosary. See, that's madness, man. Perform penance and have faith in the world peace, with a promise that her immaculate heart, so they push this false doctrine of this immaculate conception, right? Why would Yahweh Shah have name his genealogy in the book of Matthew if he was immaculate conception? No. Yahweh Shah came, his biological father was Joseph, Yahweh. That was his he had sex with Mary and they produced Yahweh Shah. There wasn't no such thing as no immaculate conception. And I'm going to do a lesson on that to break that stronghold. There's a lot of demons on these people's minds. Going back into them dumbass Brazilians, they stupid. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them just so they really that dumb. All right, so let's get back into this. The Northern Kingdom is really that dumb. So this is where this madness come from. They praying to idol, and you got the Christ the Redeemer, that big statue also in Brazil, and they stupid. You know what I'm saying? These are dumb, stupid, gainsaying, retarded people, man. The Israelites. Judges 10 and 14. It says, "Go and cry unto the gods which you have chosen." So they praying to these idols, and you got to think about a lot of these South American, so-called, and Central American, the Israelites that's there, the other tribes, they have a more stronger influence of that Catholic, because if I'm not mistaken, Portugal was mostly Catholic, and Spain, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the reason why that heavy Catholic influence is on them. And plus, they stupid. I can't emphasize that enough. All the tribes are dumb. It says, "Go and cry unto the gods which you have chosen. Let them deliver you in the time of your tribulation." So great tribulations is getting ready to befall this earth. And you got our people waxing worse. They are crying out to dumb idols. They are praying to idols. They are doing traditions. They're getting ready for this Thanksgiving Day, which was created by so-called white people, but they so dumb, they're going to celebrate it anyway. Jeremiah 4 and 22. And all these people say they believe in so-called God, as they say. You go to them so-called Brazilians, which them tribe of Asher, you got Issachar, so on and so forth. Completely bugged out, lost. Jeremiah 4 and 22. For my people is foolish. This is very foolish what they do. They have not known me. They don't know Yahweh. They can't even get his name right. They don't know the Son. They are Sadish children. You know, this word Sadish means stupid. Literally, it translates to stupidity. And they have none understanding. So you'll tell these so-called Brazilians to give you some kind of basic trivial knowledge about the Bible that they say they believe in. They can't give you any. They're going to look at you like you're stupid. It says they are wise to do evil. That's an evil thing, erecting an idol. But to do good, they have no knowledge. The statute, laws, commandments, they have no knowledge. They don't even know what it is. You tell them that, they'll look at you like you got 10 heads, but they say they believe in the same Bible that we've been studying out of. They don't know shit. It pisses you off. Foolish. It says lacking good sense of judgment. You got to be dumb to worship an idol. You got to be fucking dumb. Because I'm getting upset just thinking about it. To worship an idol. And this is one of the biggest idols that has a stronghold on the world, especially the tribes. The tribes are led by this guy here, an idol. And you tell them it's like they believe in Santa Claus. You tell them like this is the same as Santa Claus. And Santa Claus is all imaginary, dumb shit. But that's all this guy is. The same thing. He's just a character, the idol that they created, which goes back to Serapis Christos, right? This is a history lesson for a whole nother day. So let's go here with the name Brazil. So they stupid. They call themselves Brazilians, but they don't even know this history. So when you go into the name Brazil, I'm gonna get straight to the point. And you can go here and read up on the whole thing. Shift to Brazil, right? So this is when they start calling them Brazilians. It says it was during Lunrunha's tenure that the name began to transition from Terra Don Brazil, the land of Brazil, and its inhabitants, Brasileiros. Some along those lines. My Spanish is horrible. So the so-called Brazilians. Although some commentators have alleged that Lunrunha, as a new Christian and converted Jew, that's a whole nother lesson, might have been reluctant to refer to it after the Christian cross. But you get it. They renamed it this. I was trying to get to the point. Let's go. Salakia. So, said at the top, according to tradition, before colonization, the native land of the Salakia, the native name of the land was the one given by local indigenous peoples, Pindorama, Salakia, land of the palms. So they just start calling it Brazil because the trees, right? Right here, it says shift to Brazil. From 1502 to 1512, the Portuguese claim on Brazil was leased by the crown to a, let's see what this say, Lisbon merchant consortium led by Fernando de for commercial exploitation. It says Laranja set up an extensive enterprise along the coast focusing on harvesting Brazil wood. That's how you get the name Brazil. Brazil wood, right? Goes back into that folly. But ain't no such thing as Brazilian people. They're just some name that was created out of thin air, and these dumb, stupid Latin tribes, so-called, don't have any knowledge about anything. They just dumb as the Southern Kingdom. You know? Salakia. I'll get into that another day, but you get the point. I want to go to one more thing. Let's get to this last precept, Salakia. Psalms 115:4. It says, their idols are silver and gold and the work of men's hands. It says they have mouths, but they don't speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. So this is the Most High is letting you know that these idols, when you go into all these different religions like Buddhism, this damn statue, Shiva, you know what I'm saying? All these different idols. Even you got idols, the idol of Islam is the cobblestone. You know what I'm saying? It's an object. But they claim that they don't pray to no idols, but they do. And Islam is a whole nother lesson that I have to go into how that was all created. But it was mirror, you know, they used the Quran, Salaki, they used the Bible to make the Quran. So that's a whole nother lesson, vast history to go into. Let's keep going. It says Psalms 115:6. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. So these things are dead objects. Psalms 115:7. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they throw through their throat. Let's go here. It says Psalms 115:8. They that make them are like unto them. So everyone that trusted in them, Salakia. O Israel, trust thou in Yahweh. He is their help and their shit. These dumb, stupid Brazilians, so-called, which would be Asher and Issachar and the other tribes mingle with them, they gonna be destroyed. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Call Allah Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rachak Kodash. Shalom.